on Gimel Yud Aleph. Okay. He also ruled leniently in three cases. One may sweep between the crouches on the Sabbath and Yom Tov. One may put incense on burning coals on Yom Tov, and one may prepare, that is, a roast, a young goat with its entrails alongside it on Pesach nights. But the common prohibit these three acts. There are three matters that Reb Eliezer ben Azariah permits and the sages prohibit. His cow would go out into the public domain with a strap between its horns, and one may curry an animal with a metal comb on Yom Tov, and one may grind eat peppercorns even in their mill on Yom Tov. Reb Yehuda says one may not curry an animal with a metal comb on Yom Tov because he makes a wound in the process. However, Reb Yehuda agrees that one may curry with a wooden comb. But the sages say one may curry neither with a metal comb or even with a wooden comb.
And the halacha isn't like any of these, by the way. The halacha is that that is like Rabbi Shimon, that if it's a davar she'eino miskaven, if it's not an inevitable outcome, then it'll draw blood or whatever, then it's considered a davar she'eino miskaven and it's mutar.
These matters of dispute are from the legiancies of Beit Shammai and from the stringencies of Beit Hillel. An egg that was laid on Yom Tov, Beit Shammai said that it may be eaten, but Beit Hillel says that it may not be eaten. Beit Shammai says leaven the volume of an olive and chametz the volume of a date are prohibited on Pesach. But Beit Hillel says both this and that are prohibited if they are volume of an olive.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The hamish and all the Yom Tov. Okay. What happens if an animal is born on Yom Tov? Hakol modim shehi muteris. Everyone agrees that it is even Beit Hillel agree that where's the egg that was born on Yom Tov, because it was formed. The reason, just to go back to the Beitza, if you recall, the reason why Beit Hillel are machmir on this is because of the case where Yom Tov falls after Shabbos. Okay, because if Yom Tov falls after Shabbos, then they said the egg that was laid on Yom Tov was formed on Shabbos. So therefore, it's not allowed, and therefore, even if the Yom Tov doesn't fall after Shabbos, they said it's asur just as a gezerah, right? And Beis Shammai said no, that's we're not going that far. Okay. Now, but a behemoth that was born in Yom Tov, that wasn't formed yesterday. So they've got a much longer cycle. Gestation is a lot longer than one day. So everyone agrees that the behemoth that's born on Yom Tov is mutar. What does it mean? That is mutar ba'achila on Yom Tov. In other words, if there's no muktzah on it, because it's we're talking here about where if its mother had been designated for slaughter before Yom Tov. So it was prepared for slaughter by way of its mother already. So if so they could check, so they can't check the mother and the child on one day, because that would be an issue. Also it's banal. But if they change their mind, they could say, okay, we can take this newly born cow and shecht it and eat this on Yom Tov.
Why does Beis Shammai say that he argues against Beis Hillel on if the egg is formed on Shabbos? Because you can't start something new on Shabbos.
No. Nobody's talking about Shabbos. The Beit says Nolda Yom Tov. That's the argument is Beit Nolda Yom Tov.
Right. You said that Beis Shammai was saying that.
The Beis Shammai say that, let's say you have a Yom Tov falls on a Wednesday.
Right.
Okay. So the egg is laid on the Wednesday. And Beis Hillel say this egg is asur because we don't want people to get confused with the case where the egg was laid on a Sunday and it was formed on the Shabbos. And Shammai say we're not going that far. We'll asur the egg that was laid on the Sunday, but no more.
Oh, he does also. Okay, all right. So
yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. What about if the egg hatches from the egg? If the egg hatches and you have a chick coming out the egg, that chick that was hatched on Yom Tov, everyone agrees is asur because this is now a nolad. If someone does shecht a chayav of wild animals and birds, they have a special requirement for kisei adam. You have to cover their blood. So if somebody shechted on Yom Tov, now what happens if you don't have any earth on hand? So Beis Shammai omrim yachpor v'deker v'yipaseh. So let him pull up basically pull up the spade. If there's a spade that's already dug in the ground, let him yank it up, and with the soil that comes up, you can use that for kisei adam. Beis Hillel omrim lo yishkot ela im ken haya lo afar mukhan. He's not allowed to shech lechatchila if he doesn't have soil prepared for kisei adam. But they agree that b'diavad, if he went ahead and checked it and then looked around and said, "Oh, I don't have any earth for kisei adam," then let him pull up the spade and cover it. And share Afer Kira actually I think is a misprint. I think they changed the Girsa to the Afer Kira Mukhanhu, and they say that the ashes in an oven are considered mukhanin, that they're not muktzah. And you're allowed to take those ashes to do kisei adam. Okay, so again, so the dispute there between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai is that Beis Hillel say that you're not allowed to shecht an animal, shecht a chaya or an off, if you don't have earth already prepared. Beis Shammai say no, you can shecht and then get the soil with the shinoi by yanking the spade out the ground instead of digging into the ground.
Right.
Yeah. Beis Shammai omrim hefker la'aniyim hefker. Here's a situation in, I think this is in Demai. This Mishnah is from Demai. Or Peah, sorry. Or maybe I think it's from Peah. Where Beis Shammai say that if somebody declares his field hefker but only for poor people, then it's considered hefker. And now, why is this? This is a kula because once something is called hefker, then you don't have to take trimmers and masters from it.
Right.
Okay, anything hefker is parted from trimmers and masters. But if there's somebody's but Beis Hillel omrim eno hefker ad sheyivkar ad ashir kishmitza. So you can't do that. If you're putting a guard outside and saying, you're too rich to come in and take this stuff, then you're not making it equal for everyone. So the only time that hefker is really hefker is like Shemitah, where anyone is allowed to walk into the field, rich or poor.
And take it right.
Right. Okay. So that's another chumrah of Beis Hillel. Kol omerei hasadeh shel kav kav ve'echad shel arba'a kavim. So if you have all these heaps in the field, so now we're talking about doing in Shikha, you've got all these heaps in the field and they're all 1 kav in size, but there's one big one that's 4 kavim. And he walked past it and forgot it. The Shammai Ramim Eino Shikha. So that's not considered shikha. It's too important for him to forget. But shikha, that is considered shikha. Sorry, and that means that the onion gets to take it. So again, that's a chumrah of Beis Hillel. He's not allowed to take it from the onion. Daled. Ha'omer shu samuch legapa v'legadish v'lebakar v'lekeli v'ushchato. So you have another in shikha. You have if you have a pile of grain that's close to a fence or a haystack or a shed or something significant, and so there's a marker for it, and he forgot it. Because it's got a marker next to it, it's preserved from being called shikha. Beis Hillel omrim shikha. No, that's still considered shikha. We don't factor in the marker as a heter to stop it from becoming shikha. Okay, and that's it.
Okay.
Right, now I'm totally exhausted, and you can do the rest of the reading.
Aleph Yudan. As the earthenware vessel protects all substances from becoming tameh, excuse me, according to the opinion of Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai says it protects only foods, liquids, and earthenware vessels from becoming tameh. Beis Hillel says to Beis Shammai, why? Beis Hillel said to them, because it is tameh through the Am Haaretz, and a vessel which is tameh cannot interpose. Beis Hillel replied to Beis Shammai, but have you not declared tahor the foods and liquids that are in it? Beis Shammai replied to them, when we declared tahor the foods and liquids that are in it, it was only in regard to the Am Haaretz himself that we declared them tahor. But if you would declare the tahor vessel, if you will declare tahor the vessel, you will have declared a tahor both with regard to you, the chaver, and to him, the Am Haaretz. And so they still reversed themselves to thenceforth rule in accordance with the opinion of the Beis Shammai.
Right. So this was a nice little. It was a nice little dance. This with why the kalim, why earthenware kalim can only save other earthenware kalim and food, but not metal things, because there's an agreement between we generally don't trust Amei Aretz in matters of tumah. Okay, they don't know enough, and so they don't know when they're tahor or tameh or whatever. But one thing that they do know is when something is tameh but ohel hameis. If something's got meis tumah, they're aware of that, and they'll tell you. So now let's say you want to go and borrow kalim from an amaretz. You want to borrow, let's say, metal kalim. Which you can do. So that you just say to the amaretz, tell me, do these have meis tumah? And he'll say yes or no, and you can believe him. Okay. If it's got meis tumah, then of course it's got to go through the whole parah story and sprinkling and whatever. But if it's just got, if he says no, it doesn't have meis tumah, then all you have to do is take it to a mikveh, dunk it, bring it out, and you can treat it as tahor. Okay, but the problem is that a kli cheres with a tzamid pasil, with a seal around it,
right,
can only preserve things that are inside it if the kli itself is tahor. Now the Amma Aretz himself doesn't thinks that his kalim, his kli cheres is tahor, because he doesn't know. Okay, whereas we assume that all of his kli cheres are tameh. So now, if we say that the halacha is that he is allowed to, excuse me, if we say that the halacha is that the kli cheres will protect metal vessels as well. And let's say that he had some metal vessels inside his kli cheres which had a tzamid patil with a proper seal, and was inside no ohel hameis. And then later the chaver comes to him and says, "Can I borrow your kalim, please?" And he says, "Sure, with pleasure." He says, "Are these tameh but ohel hameis?" And he thinks, "No, it's not, because it was inside a kli cheres." He doesn't say because it was inside a kli cheres. He just says, "No, they're fine." So the chaver takes them and just dunks them in the mikveh, and that's not good enough to make them tahor. So that's why the Chachamim said that the kli cheres will only preserve other kli cheres or food, because those things in any case you wouldn't trust the Amma Aretz about. Whereas the metal you could take to the mikveh, and
right.
So that's why Beis Shammai made that decree, and Beis Hillel thought, that's a good idea.
Res Hanina, administrator of the Kohanim, testified concerning 4 matters. In all the days of the Kohanim, never did they refrain from burning sacrificial meat that had been contaminated by derived tumah together with sacrificial meat that had been contaminated by an Abba tumah, although by doing so they added tumah to its tumah. Rabbi Akiva added, in all the days of the Kohanim, never did they refrain from lighting oil that had been disqualified through a tevel yom in a lamp that had been contaminated by one who was tameh from a corpse, although by doing so they increased its tumah. Rabbi Hanina, administrator of Kohanim, said, "In all my days I never saw a hide being taken out of the place of burning." Rabbi Akiva said, from Rabbi Kana's words, we learned that if one skins a bachor and it is then found to be a shrefa, then the Kohanim may benefit from its hide. But the Kohanim say we have not seen, it is not a proof. Rather, it goes out to the place of burning. Okay. He also testified about a small.
We've done 3.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Marcos.
Marcos. We have Gimel Beit. A person who is tameh who eats the holy foods, one who enters the temple while tameh, one who eats fat blood, leftover sacrificial meat, pickle or sacrificial foods which have become tameh, one who slaughters the sacrificial animal or offers it outside the temple, one who eats chametz on Pesach, or one who eats or performs work on Yom Kippur, one who compounds anointing oil, compounds incense or anoints with the anointing oil, but one who eats trephis, nevelas, trephis, or abominable creatures and crawling things. One who eats tevel or ma'aser rishon from which tevel is not separated, or ma'aser sheni with consecrated objects which are not redeemed. How much must he eat of tevel to be liable? Reb Shimon says any amount that can come and say the bulk of an olive. Reb Shimon says to them, do not concern with me concerning the one who eats an ant of any size when he is liable. That replied, because it was as if it was created. It replied, the one wheat kernel too is as it was created. One who eats before the recital over them, or eats kodesh kadosh kadoshim outside the curtains, kadosh kalim or masasheni outside the wall, or one who breaks the bone of a Pesach offering that is tahor increases the penalty of 40 lashes. But one who leaves over meat of one that is tahor, or one who breaks a bone over that is tameh does not incur the penalty of 40 lashes. One who takes a mother bull on a young, Rabbi Yehuda says he incurs the penalty of lashes and need not send her away. If the comment, however, say he must send her away and he does not incur the penalty of lashes, this is the rule. Any negative commandment that has in a positive commandment bears no liability. Who destroys the corner of his beard or
No, that's it. We're done.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Baba Metzia. Metzia Aleph Chet. That's one. Aleph Chet. If one finds the valuation documents, supports documents, leads to certificates, refusal, selection, certificates, or any kind of court, any act of the court, he should return them. If one finds any documentation in a leather bag or a case, a roll of documents, or a bundle of documents, he should return them. Now, how many constitute a bundle of documents? 3 fastened one to the other. Rabbi Shimon says, Gamliel says, if they are of one who borrows from 3, he must return them to the debtor. If of 3 who borrows from 1, he should return them to the creditor. If one crowned a document among his documents and he does not know who gave it to him, he must return it to Eliyahu until Eliyahu. It must remain until Eliyahu comes. If there are receipts among them, he should do with what is written in the receipts. Okay. And one more, right?
2 more.
2 more?
2 more, I said.
Oh, 2 more, I'm sorry. Some fines belong to him and some must announce these fines belong to him. If he found scattered produce, scattered money, small sheaves in a public domain, round cakes of fresh figs, loaves of baked bread, strings of fish, pieces of meat, fleeces of wool brought from the country, bundles of flax or tongues of purple wool, these belong to him. These are the words of Reb Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says anything containing something unusual must be announced. How? He found a round cake and potsherd was in it, or a loaf and money was found inside. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says all new utensils need not be announced. These must be announced. If he found produce in a vessel just as money in a purse, or a purse just as it is, piles of produce, piles of money, 3 coins upon one upon the other, small sheaves in a private domain, loaves of homemade bread, fleeces of wool taken from the craftsman workshop, jugs of wine and jugs of oil. These must be redeemed and announced.
Okay. All right, now we're starting Moed Katan. We finished Megillah yesterday.
I know what we're starting because we finished Megillah and I wasn't sure where we were going after that. So,
Okay, go for it.